I only meant to send him the picture, not her. It was a stupid impulse, the kind you get when you've been gaslit for so long that proof becomes your only oxygen. He'd been slipping lately, forgetting calls, skipping nights, work trips that never made sense. So I did what any woman sick of doubting does. I set up the pet cam. But instead of a raccoon or our anxious lad peeing in the hallway again, I caught something else. Him. On our couch with someone who looked a hell a lot like her. The woman tagged in every photo on his profile he insisted was an ex. The one he told me blocked him. The one he never wanted to talk about. So when I snapped a photo of the paused video on my phone, just his hand on her thigh, her smirk half hidden in his hoodie, I wasn't thinking clearly. I airdropped it while walking up to our shared condo just to see if his phone would ping. It did. So did hers. They were both there, and I'd just handed her the first page of my evidence. She accepted the airdrop. And then, silence. No one opened the door, no movement, just the dull glow of my screen and the sinking realization that I'd blown it. I should have walked away. I should have cut and run and blocked his number and never looked back. But I had to see it through. So I unlocked the door and walked in. At first glance, the place looked empty. No coats on the rack, no shoes by the bench. The usual wine bottle he left out was missing. Even the dog wasn't barking, probably at my sister's still, where I'd dropped her for a weekend work thing. Then I heard it, a whisper, from the bedroom. I moved slowly down the hall, past the half-lit kitchen and the gallery wall he'd let me decorate like we were really building something. The door was cracked just slightly. I didn't push it open. I just waited until I heard her voice. "You said she'd be gone all weekend." My chest caved in. His voice came next, lower, annoyed. She wasn't supposed to be back until Sunday. A pause. Then a chuckle. She always was bad at timing. It felt like being erased in real time. I didn't walk in. I just turned around, hands shaking, and left. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because of the betrayal. I'd already braced for that. Not because of the shame, but because of her. Why hadn't she confronted me? Why hadn't she messaged me, called me, come storming out the door to drag me into the war zone? Because she knew. She wasn't an ex. She was a fiancé, and I was the side piece who accidentally blew up the lie. At 3:17 a.m., I got a text. Unknown. You don't know what you've done. Followed by a video file. I didn't want to open it. Every instinct screamed, don't, but I couldn't resist. It was pet cam footage again. Only this time, I hadn't recorded it. It was their footage. Angle, living room, from the corner near the bookcase. Timestamp, 1 week ago. He was on the couch. She sat beside him, barefoot, scrolling on his phone. She laughed at something, kissed his neck, then paused, zoomed in on something on his screen, and whispered, "Why does she have a photo of Lily?" I froze. Lily? Then he said, "She thinks it's mine." Is it? Silence. He didn't answer. She grabbed his face. "Don't lie to me." Still no answer. She stood, walked off camera, and then I heard a child's voice, distant. "Mama, where's Daddy?" The video ended. I dropped the phone. Who the hell was Lily? And what did she mean by mine? The next morning, I got a follow-up message, from her number this time. "Kate, you need to meet me. Alone." "Me? Why?" "Kate, because if Lily is yours, I think I deserve to know if she's mine, too." I didn't text back right away. How do you respond to that? I hadn't seen a child. I hadn't had a child. And the only Lily I knew was my sister's cat. But that voice in the video? Mama, where's Daddy? It hadn't sounded far off. Not like a TV. Not background noise. Real. Warm. Present. And she hadn't called Kate Mama. She'd said it like she was calling for me. We met at a 24-hour diner halfway between our neighborhoods. Kate sat in a corner booth already sipping from a chipped coffee mug, her face bare and exhausted. She didn't look like the woman from the pet cam footage. No makeup, no earrings, just a sweatshirt with a fading logo and her phone turned screen down on the table. "You came," she said, without looking up. "You texted." I slid in across from her. She looked me dead in the eyes. "I'm not going to scream at you. You don't need to play victim. I'm not here to fight." "Good," I said, flat, "because I didn't know you existed." She let out a tired laugh. "Neither did I, until I saw your AirDrop." We stared at each other for a second, two women on opposite ends of the same lie. Then she said, "Did he ever tell you about Lily?" I shook my head. She exhaled slowly, like she'd been holding it for years. "I had a miscarriage," she said, 3 years ago. It destroyed me. Nat was comforting, supportive, then weird, then distant, then said he needed space. I already knew where this was going. You were the space. I swallowed. She continued, "But a few months ago, I started getting anonymous messages, photos, video stills. A little girl with his nose, his mouth. I thought someone was screwing with me." She pulled out her phone and slid it over. On screen, a child, maybe 5, curly dark hair, big gray eyes. Posing on a swing, grinning next to a cake that said, "Happy 5th, Lily." Sitting on my couch. I nearly dropped the phone. "Wait, this is my apartment." Kate didn't flinch. "Yeah, that's the part I don't understand. Why is she there?" I stared at the photos, tried to count backwards, tried to make it make sense. But there was one problem. "I've never had a kid," I said. "I'd remember." "Would you?" Kate whispered. "Have you ever taken a test? Ever missed a period and just ignored it?" I flinched. Once. Right after a fight with Matt when we hadn't spoken for 2 weeks. I'd assumed the stress threw my cycle off. Then came the flu, the nausea, the dizzy spells. And then? Nothing. No bump, no cramps, no blood. Just the feeling of skipping something I couldn't name. My blood ran cold. Kate leaned in. "There's more." Of course there was. "I used a voice enhancement tool on the pet cam audio," she said. "The kid in the video doesn't say, 'Mama, where's Daddy?'" She pulled up a cleaned audio clip, played it. A tiny voice, clearly now. "Mama, why did Daddy hide me from you?" I covered my mouth. Kate didn't stop. "There's a Dropbox link in that same burner folder. You probably haven't found it yet. It's got videos, medical files, DNA reports." Her eyes narrowed. "One of them has your name, and his. And Lily?" She nodded. "She calls you Mommy." I left the diner without finishing my coffee, drove like hell back to my apartment, tore through every folder in the PetCam app, every hidden archive on the backup drive, every saved folder that Matt had accidentally renamed. Found it. Lily_private.zip. Password protected. I typed my name. Wrong. Tried his birthday. Wrong. Then I typed the only word that made sense. Mommy. It opened. Photos, videos, reports, Lily's height chart, Lily's preschool art, my face drawn in crayon. A short video of her blowing out candles, then turning toward the camera and saying, "Can I send this to Mommy? She's always late." And one document that stopped my heart cold. Petition to transfer guardianship, provisional approval. Applicants, Matt Greer and Cassandra Ray. Biological parent on record, unlisted. Child, Lily Ray Greer. Cassandra, my sister. I called my sister 17 times, straight to voicemail. By the 4th try, I was screaming into the phone. By the 8th, I was sobbing. By the 17th, I was just silent, listening to my own breath, to the mechanical voice that kept saying her inbox was full. I hadn't spoken to Cass in nearly a year. We'd had a falling out, something about Matt, of course. She said he gave her creep vibes. I said she was projecting again. She'd always hated my boyfriends. I cut her off. And now? She'd filed for guardianship of a child that might be mine, or hers, or Matt's, or all three. I didn't sleep. I just sat on the living room floor with Lily's file open, scrubbing frame by frame through the videos. There were dozens, some in my apartment, others in strange houses, sometimes with Matt, sometimes with Cass. And Lily was always calm, too calm. She never called anyone Dad, only Mommy, sometimes Miss Cass. And then I found one labeled em-casssession.mov. It was surveillance footage. Cass and me, at some point in the past I don't remember, sitting in a white-walled office. I'm holding Lily. Cass is crying. And I'm saying, I know you wanted a baby, but this wasn't the way. She's saying, you weren't ready. You kept forgetting things. The blackout, the accident. You don't even remember giving birth, Em. Then I said, but that doesn't mean she's not mine. I paused the video. My skin prickled. The accident? What accident? I opened my medical folder, scrolled through the scanned bills and prescriptions I'd saved years ago. There it was. ER visit, head trauma, date 3/14, 5 years ago. Diagnosis, mild concussion, memory disruption. I'd been told I'd fallen down the stairs, alone. Matt had driven me to the hospital. By 7 a.m., I was at my sister's place, banged on the door until the neighbor peeked out. She moved out 2 weeks ago, she said. Where? The woman shrugged. Didn't say. Had a little girl with her, though. My throat tightened. Did she say where she was going? The woman squinted. Something about Arizona, family court. I drove straight to Matt's, used the spare key he didn't know I'd kept. His place looked untouched, clean, tidy, soulless. I walked straight to the drawer where he kept his chargers and loose change. Found a locked folder labeled Texas. Inside, a birth certificate. Name, Lily Greer. Date of birth, 10/03. Mother, Cassandra Ray. Father, Matthew Greer. I sank to the floor, then flipped the paper over. A sticky note. Matt's handwriting. Keep this version. Hers is too unstable. Hers, as in mine? My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Hello? A child's voice whispered. Mommy? My blood turned to ice. Lily? She said you wouldn't find me, but I knew you would. Where are you, sweetie? She said you're not supposed to remember, but I remember everything. Where are you, Lily? Silence. Then, she made me call her Mommy, but she's not. You are. A crash. Static. Then a new voice. Familiar. Deadpan. Emily, you need to stop digging. You're making things worse for her. Matt. You stole her from me, I snapped. No, he said. You signed her over. I never. Remember, exactly. He hung up. I stared at the phone. It was still recording. But the number wasn't in my history. No call log, no trace. Just one thing remained. A new file appeared in the Lily folder, untitled. I opened it. Footage from a pet cam. Lily, curled up in a dark room, talking to herself. Or maybe someone behind the lens. "She'll come," she whispered. "She always does, even when they wipe her." Then she looked straight into the camera, straight at me. "DNA doesn't lie," she said, and smiled. The smile haunted me. It wasn't malicious. It wasn't innocent either. It was knowing, like she had seen this all unfold before. I closed the laptop, but her voice echoed in my skull. Even when they wipe her. Who was they? And what had they wiped? I took the birth certificate to my old OBGYN. I hadn't seen Dr. Myers in years, but she remembered me. Barely. "Emily Ray? Yes, you were a regular during your migraines. Then you moved, right?" I didn't correct her. I didn't say I'd never moved. I just slid the birth certificate across the desk. "I need to know if I was ever pregnant." She frowned. "We'd need records. You never came to us for prenatal care." "What about the ER visit 5 years ago, head trauma?" She tapped a few keys, then froze. "There's a redacted note. That's rare." "Redacted?" She turned the screen. A blank line under pregnancy status, a blank line under patient medication, but there, in the physician's notes, refer to second floor memory stabilization per agreement. Memory stabilization? She looked at me confused. "You weren't part of any studies?" I shook my head. She looked afraid. "I'm sorry, I think I have to call someone." I didn't wait. I left. Ran straight to the place in my medical file marked second floor neurology referral, a private clinic, one I didn't remember ever visiting. The receptionist recognized me. "Miss Ray, you're back early." I smiled. Forgot my badge. She nodded and buzzed me through. What followed felt like breaking into a dream I'd already had. The hallway was dim, quiet, like a spa for people with secrets. At the end, a door labeled Memory Recovery, Observation, Patient Emily R. It opened with a soft click. Inside, a chair, a screen, electrodes, a giant file marked Mother Loop, Subject 7A. I opened it. Pages and pages of transcripts, monitors, EEG scans. Notes like, "Subject shows resistance to phase 2 imprints. Returns to maternal instinct, even post-erasure. Test loop, Cassandra equals surrogate. Loop fails if contact occurs with child prior to wipe. Note, PET cam triggers early self-recall in 7A, consider removing tech." Then, phase 5, acceptance via denial, followed by a printed image. Lily's drawing. Me, Cass, Matt, and Lily in the center, labeled My Family. Only my figure had been scribbled over, in red. A drawer beneath the desk had a hard drive. I plugged it into the screen. A video loaded, therapy session footage, date stamped 5 years ago. Me and Matt, she's saying, "We need to let her go. You can't mother her, Emily, not like this." I start sobbing in the video. She calls me mommy. She'll call whoever we tell her to. The therapist's voice is cold. "She's 5 now. The loop can only hold so long before pattern fractures begin. If you keep remembering, it unravels." "I don't care," I whisper on the screen. Matt says nothing. Then I watch myself pick up a pen and sign a waiver. Authorization of memory adjustment under controlled study, subject 7A. I dropped the drive. I had agreed. I had signed my own forgetting. When I got home, the living room lights were on. A figure sat on my couch. Not Matt, not Kate, not Cass. Lily. Real. Alive. In my apartment. She looked up at me like I was late to something we planned. "I left the door," she said. I couldn't breathe. "How did you?" She shrugged. "I always come here in the end. They just don't like when I do it early." I stepped forward. "Why now?" She held up a folded piece of paper. It was the DNA test. My name, Matt's name, Lily's name. 99.999% match. Then she handed me something else. A pet cam. I flipped the screen. It showed this room, us, right now, live. And in the corner, a blinking red dot. Recording. Then a whisper behind me. I told you not to dig. Matt. He was already inside. I spun around so fast I nearly slipped. Matt stood in the hallway, casual as ever, like this was a normal Tuesday. His shirt was half-buttoned, his sleeves rolled, but his eyes were wild. Not angry, not sad, just resigned, like he knew it would come to this. "You weren't supposed to find her," he said. I backed toward Lily, instinctively shielding her. "She's my daughter," I whispered. He nodded. "She is." Then he added quietly, "And you gave her up." My voice broke. "Because you made me." "No," he said, calmly. "You asked us to." I blinked. "What?" Matt reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded paper. Another consent form, this one handwritten, dated, signed in my messy scrawl, dated 2 weeks after my ER visit. It read, "I cannot provide safe care for Lily. I'm forgetting things. I'm seeing things. I'm not myself. Cass will be a better mother to her until I'm well. Please don't let her know I was broken." I dropped the paper. No, I wouldn't." "You were coming undone, Em," Matt said. "You begged us to help." I looked down at Lily. She was staring at me, unfazed, like this wasn't her first time hearing all of this. I crouched down. "Did you know about all this, sweetie?" She nodded. "They told me not to tell." "What?" He pointed at the blinking red dot on the pet cam. "We don't destroy data. We use it. Every confrontation, every spiral, it's all part of the file. When it collapses, we feed it back in to learn what not to do next time." I stepped back like he'd hit me. "You're looping me." "You're looping yourself, Emily. You always do." He took a step forward. "You beg for the wipe. You scream for her back. You sabotage the loop. You record everything, then you forget again." Lily's voice piped up behind me. "I like when she remembers." Matt looked at her. "That's not up to you." "She's getting faster," Lily said, now playing with the pet cam. "She remembers sooner every time." I grabbed Lily's hand. "We're leaving." Matt laughed again. "Go ahead. See what happens." I shoved past him, Lily clutching my waist. We made it to the stairwell. I didn't wait for the elevator. Down 2 flights, into the street. I opened my car, buckled her in, hands shaking, started the ignition. And the second the GPS lit up, a voice blared through the speaker. "Subject has broken containment. Initiating loop 8. My vision blurred. The streetlights flickered. Lily turned her head and looked at me terrified. "Mommy, I don't want to go back." Then, one by one, the lights outside went black. When I woke up, I was in bed. Matt was making eggs in the kitchen. There was no sign of Lily. My phone buzzed. A calendar reminder. Anniversary dinner, 8 p.m. I didn't remember setting it. But I got dressed. Because that's what I always do. The dinner reservation was at the same place we always went. Matt insisted on it. A little Italian spot with dim lighting and a string quartet crammed in the corner like an afterthought. But something felt wrong. The waiter greeted us with, "Good to see you again, Emily," like we were regulars. Except I didn't know his face, or the specials, or the wine list I apparently helped curate. "You okay?" Matt asked as he poured my wine. "Yeah," I lied. "Just tired." He leaned in. "You've been through a lot lately. You deserve a night to feel normal." I stared into the red liquid, thick and too sweet. Was it drugged? Would I remember this tomorrow? Was I in loop 8 already? I excused myself and went to the restroom, checked my phone in the stall. No messages, no Lily, no Kate, no Cass. Just one app I didn't remember installing. Rewind. I opened it. There were 7 files, each labeled with a version number. loop_1.avi, loop_2.final.mov, loop_3.fail.webm, loop_4.fragmented.mp4, loop_5 wipefast.move, loop_6 self-erase.avi, loop_7.dnr, the most recent loop_8 preview.mp4. I clicked it. It was footage of me, tonight, in the restaurant, sipping the wine, smiling, then glitching, freezing, repeating the same laugh over and over, like a corrupted file. I dropped the phone. When I picked it up, a new window had appeared. Would you like to end the loop? Y/N. My thumb hovered. I didn't press anything. Instead, I looked in the mirror. The light above me flickered, and for half a second, it wasn't me looking back. It was Cass. I bolted back to the table. Matt stood when he saw me, but it wasn't relief in his eyes. It was resignation, like he'd seen this scene before. "Do you want dessert?" he asked flatly. I sat down slowly. "You know I found the files." He didn't blink. "Of course you did. You always do." "Why do you keep doing this?" He sighed. "Because you never stay." "Stay where?" "In the version where it worked, where you chose peace over truth." "You mean delusion." "I mean safety." I leaned forward. "What happens if I choose truth?" He smiled. "That's loop 9. I walked out. Didn't wait for him. Didn't even look back. When I got home, I ripped my apartment apart. Every book, every drawer, every backup drive. And in the coat closet, I found it. A box I didn't remember packing. Inside, drawings, lilies, more than I'd ever seen. One stood out. It showed me standing in front of a mirror, while another version of me screamed behind the glass. At the top, she'd written, "Mommy in the mirror can't get out." I felt bile rise in my throat. Beneath it, taped to the bottom of the box, a small folded paper. My handwriting. "If you're reading this, you remembered too much. Don't trust the mirror. Don't drink the wine. Loop 9 equals last chance." I dropped to my knees. The walls felt like they were bending. Then, a knock at the door. I opened it without thinking. It was me. Another me. Disheveled, bleeding, holding Lily's hand. She whispered, "Loop 9 started early. Run." I didn't ask questions. I just ran. Out the door, barefoot, down the fire escape with Lily clinging to my arm, and myself, the other me, bleeding behind me, gasping. The street blurred, the world blurred. 2 Emilys, 1 child, and behind us, the glitch. It started as a flicker in the streetlights, then a siren that looped the same half-second over and over again. Whoa! Whoa! The skyline cracked. I didn't see it crack. I felt it, like a migraine behind reality. And then came the voice, not from a speaker, from inside us. Loop 9 breached containment. All assets corrupt. My knees buckled. The bleeding Emily collapsed beside me. Lily screamed, "Stop it!" And the world froze. We were in a room. A white one. No doors, no windows, no sound, except a soft hum. And in front of us, a mirror. The mirror from Lily's drawing. I crawled toward it, looked inside. No reflection, only footage. dozens of me's, screaming, laughing, running, signing waivers, holding babies, forgetting, bleeding, smiling. Loop 1, loop 2, loop 3, loop infinity. Then a voice behind me. Cassandra. Real. Not a memory. Not a hallucination. Holding a tablet. Emily, I didn't want you to see this. I stood, shaking. You took her from me. No, Cass said. You made me. Again and again. Every time you remembered, you broke. Every time you broke, you begged me to take her. You forgot that part. I clenched my fists. Why didn't you just let me heal? Cass's eyes filled with something I couldn't name. Regret? Pity? Because you kept asking for the loop. She handed me the tablet. A form. A button. Exit the loop. Delete all versions. If you press that, she said softly, everything ends. The copies, the loops, the surveillance, the therapy scripts, the faked calendars, the wine nights. Lily gets one mother, one life. So do you. And if I don't, you'll wake up tomorrow, forgetting again, starting again, thinking Matt is late, that Lily is missing, that the drawing is a clue instead of a memory. You'll go mad all over again, because part of you wants to. I looked at Lily. She stepped forward and touched the screen. Will I still be real? She asked. Cass knelt beside her. More real than ever. I stared at the mirror. It didn't show me anymore. It showed a hospital room, a woman on a bed, tubed, hooked, monitored, comatose. Me. The voice returned. Subject 7A has reached collapse threshold. Loop integrity 0%. Cass held out her hand. End it, Em. I took a breath, pressed the button. I woke up with the scent of lavender and antiseptic in the air. Monitors beeped softly. A hand gripped mine. Warm, real. Cass. She was crying. You're back. I tried to speak. My throat burned. Where's... She smiled. She's waiting. The door opened. A little girl peeked in. Shy, unsure. But when she saw me, she whispered, Mommy? And this time, this real time, I didn't hesitate. I held out my arms. She ran into them. No loops, no footage, no glitch. Just us. I thought memory was fragile, but it was never about remembering. It was about finally being allowed to forget everything that wasn't real.